Allan Aguirre with your Incorruptible 2-minute warning for Monday, May 15th. We are starting week 6 of what we're calling Roman holiday, and this face right here is my grandson, Julian Mishael. And we're doing a couple things today. Anyway, okay, so here we go. We're going to be at Roman holiday, week 6. We're in Romans chapter 3. If I had looked ahead and realized that we were 4 verses away from ending chapter 3, I probably should have done that on Friday so that today we could start brand new with chapter 4. But hey, that's only because I've given you the impression that I know what I'm doing. All right, what are we working on? This is the week before. We're in the 5th week of the Omer count. The Ascension, the 40th day, I believe, is Thursday. And then next week, we have the Shavuot conference, and we get to see some of your faces in real life. Oh, yeah. So, okay, let's try and do this thing. Ready? Here we go. All right. Romans 3, verses 27 through 31. The righteousness of God through faith is the English Standard Version title of it. Then, what becomes of our boasting? Go back to see what we're talking about. It is excluded. By what kind of law? By a law of works? No, but by the law of faith. Complete Jewish Bible. So what room is left for boasting? None at all. What kind of Torah excludes it? One that has to do with legalistic observance of rules? No, rather a Torah that has to do with trusting. See, we're not eliminating anything, as you're going to see. 28, for we hold that one is justified by faith apart from works of the law. Verse 28, Jewish Bible. Therefore, we hold the view that a person comes to be considered righteous by God on the ground of trusting, which has nothing to do with legalistic observance of Torah commands. See, you just can't get stuck with one version. You have to spread it out. You have to look at the Greek. You have to look at the Hebrew. You have to look at the cross-reference. What are we talking about? We are not eliminating Torah. But Christianity will take Romans 3:28 and say, see, no more law. Well, that's because they're ignorant. And that's not how it's done. You can't do that. Paul is in the middle of a conversation here. He's in the middle of explaining things. You can't take one verse unless, of course, you're a muppet. Or verse 29, or is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles also? Yes, of Gentiles also. Complete Jewish Bible. Or is God the God of the Jews only? Isn't he also the God of the Gentiles? Yes, he is indeed the God of the Gentiles. Verse 30. Since God is one, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through faith? Do we then overthrow the law by this faith? By no means. On the contrary, I have to, right? You have to hear this verse again. Verse 31. We're in the middle of a conversation, and Paul says, do we then overthrow the law by this faith? The Complete Jewish Bible says, well, I'm going to read the last two in Complete Jewish Bible. So in English Standard, he says, do we then overthrow the law by this faith? By no means, exclamation mark. On the contrary, we uphold the law. But see, you have to know what the law is. You have to actually know what it is that you think you're talking about to be able to understand that. Complete Jewish Bible, verse 30. Let's go with 29. Or is God the God of the Jews only? Isn't he also the God of the Gentiles? Yes, he is indeed the God of the Gentiles, semicolon. Because as you will admit, God is one. Therefore, he will consider righteous the circumcised on the ground of trusting, and the uncircumcised through that same trusting. Verse 31, does it follow that we abolish Torah by this trusting? Heaven forbid. On the contrary, we confirm or we uphold the Torah. See the difference when you read stuff contextually, when you read stuff with understanding versus just one verse ignorant seminary thought?
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.
If I don't tell them the truth about stuff, Julian, if I don't tell them, who's going to tell them?